Welcome, people of all ages. My name is Kaitlyn,
My name is Annabelle.
and this is Two Peas in a Pod. So we're back.
What's up, guys? We're back. Sorry.
It's been a kind of like long break. Basically, Annabelle and I, we both kind of were burnt out from this whole school year because we're still in high school. So this whole school year really burnt us out, and we've been gone for like I would say like 2 episode weeks technically. And we're back now. So we just wanted to thank you for all the support that we got while we were gone. I think our last episode we reached 63 downloads, which is more than any of our episodes and more than our last 3 episodes combined. So we just want to thank everyone for everything and all the support they continue to give us, even though we weren't as frequent as we would have loved to be.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I have not even been paying attention to like how many downloads we have. Every time Kaitlyn like sends me one, I'm like, what now? Over 50? That's a lot of people. Who is downloading this?
I don't know who's downloading this.
My mother. That's about all I know.
I checked, actually, fun fact, I checked, and some people from, like, not the US are downloading. Like, there's, like, 2 people from the UK, or, like, one person
How
from
did they
Australia.
find us? Oh my gosh. G'day, mates. Oh my god. Australia. Sorry, I don't know anything about Australian culture. I'm so sorry.
I don't know anything about Australia or the UK, but I guess they like listening to a podcast from America, so.
2 teens from a performing arts school who spend 40 minutes talking about like really random things.
Yeah, just really random things that are important to us. So, who knows?
I don't know.
But we just want to thank everyone for that. And again, as always, you can find our podcast on mostly any streaming platform. That includes like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, just anything that you are comfortable in streaming and listening to your podcast at. And with that out the way, this episode is actually going to be more so a reflection of our year. Like I said earlier, because we left because of the burnout we were getting from high school. And since school was taken in such, I would say, like a online, like crazy year, we were taken to this whole transition. It's kind of something that we wanted to reflect on and also like give our kind of like input on how we believe this year went and how we kind of handled our own situations within our online format.
Yep.
So I guess the first thing is that I was telling Annabelle before I guess we started this, we kind of like when COVID started, we were freshmen, and now COVID is like
we're old.
We're gonna be juniors next year. And it's kind of crazy to think about. But
I don't want to. We're going to apply for colleges soon.
I started thinking about college too. And I'm just like.
I started thinking about college in freshman year. I was like, where do I want to go to college? Like, live your life first.
No, I think
live your high school life.
I'm kind of scared though, because it's like I think in my mind, I had like even before COVID or anything, like just going into freshman year, I had like this whole like vision of how my high school year was going to look like. And then of course COVID hit. Like we never thought we were going to be in like a global pandemic. And that hit, and then like my whole image of like having a fun high school was like, well, we still have a fun high school. We still had our fun times, but like this whole image of like what high school was going to be like kind of faded. And it was just, I feel like especially with Kappa, like we missed out on so many events.
Yeah. I only like am a little upset about missing like the end of school year thing and like sending off the seniors that are in our majors, but I did not miss the social aspects, like generally speaking. Like I didn't have to talk to people. It was awesome. I was sad that we didn't get to like go to school though, because I love learning. Hashtag nerd things. I need to stop saying hashtag. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's my
Hashtag
point.
nerd things.
When
So
I said
like
nerd.
nerd. But so Annabelle, like I don't know. I feel like that's where we're different too. Like I with this whole online format, like when we transitioned, I hated it. Like I love
I
being around people.
mm, okay. To each their own.
To each their own. That's what I'm saying. I said we're different in that like aspect where you're like, oh yeah, this is great. I'll stay.
I mean, I didn't like the end of the school year, like freshman school year, the virtual setup that we had for school. I hated that because it wasn't structured and I never knew when my classes were going to be. But like the online thing for 2020 2021 school year, I was just like, wow, this is wonderful. But
And
also at
also,
the same time it wasn't because I was like, I don't get to see my teachers and the curriculum is moving really slow, but it
I mean
happens, I guess.
that's what all the teachers said though. Like the online format worked, and I think in the beginning it was a little messy. Then we finally got like these things called like Fun Fridays, and we had teachers didn't understand more so like the asynchronous concept yet. So like some
Oh, they
teachers
had
were
no
going,
clue.
they had no clue. So like in high school, we I think every school did this, but for the online, we did like synchronous times. For people who don't know, like we did synchronous times, which is like when we're working, and then asynchronous times, which I guess would be like they would the classwork that we would have, then we
Yeah,
would
like synchronous is when we were in class, like logged into a meet,
yeah,
but asynchronous was when we weren't
our
logged
own
in.
time.
Like if they let us go early or like they gave us an asynchronous period where we didn't have to go to class, but we still had homework for it.
Yeah, it was like our own type of individual time. And in the beginning of like sophomore year, it like none of the teachers, well, some teachers kind of understood, but none of the teachers got it. It was like an overload of work. We didn't really have any asynchronous time. A lot of teachers put assignments due at like 4 p.m.,
I
3
was
p.m.
I was like, why would you do that? Cuz every teacher thought that every other teacher was giving us time to do work, but
Yeah.
we were staying the entire class period, so we had zero time to do work. And that is I think when my like, oh, I can turn things in late and there's no consequence. Like that's when that thing started. So later in the year I was just like, "Oh, it's due at 11:59 p.m. on a Tuesday. Let me turn it in a month later because grades aren't due yet." So,
It don't matter.
nope.
Yeah, like that's also the crazy thing about this is like before teachers actually understood the asynchronous concept, we got like classwork, then homework, and we had to do that all like by a certain
Yeah,
time.
it
And
was
then
so weird.
teachers, exactly, and then teachers started to like kind of pull back with like making work due at like a later time. Like I know with my English teacher was like, oh, he pulled it back to 9, and then all the teachers pulled it back to like midnight that
Yeah.
work was due.
I think definitely a turning point was like when we got into 2021 because then like everything like we didn't have any more essays to do because essays are usually in the beginning of the year with like the summer reading books. But once we got to 2021, it was like smooth sailing, except for like, issues that could happen. But overall, with like the schoolwork, I thought that they did a good job like managing it and giving it to us in like good times and stuff.
No, yeah, and
So
then on top of that, just like a lot of teachers started to be really lenient where it came to like you said, like you had a work assigned this day and then you turned it in a month later. Like a lot of teachers
my
were
my bio teacher was like, if you this is due this day, as long as you get it in like 3 days before grades close, I will give it full credit. And I was like, whoa, whoa. You should not have done that, sir, because now in my junior year, when I'm taking all AP and honors classes, I'm going to struggle for the first like 4 months.
see, that's what I'm scared of because I'm also taking all AP and honors and I'm hoping that they, which I know they are, because like like you said earlier, like we didn't get through the whole curriculum. Like a lot of the stuff that we would have gotten through, we did not go through.
Dude, we were supposed to read something of Shakespeare's, I think, which I was looking forward to because I like analyzing the text and like the rhyme schemes and whatever. But we spent like how many months? Like 7.5 months reading Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
It took so long. And then we read Animal Farm in like 3 weeks. And I was like, where was this
I feel
this
like we could have
quick
gotten through. Like
pace?
it took us so long to read one book where like in a regular like school environment it would have taken us like 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
At least not like seven. Like it took us almost the whole year to read
It
one
was
book.
basically the whole year. That was
It was
our
basically
entire
yeah.
curriculum.
And then the last month was to put off for a book that was like very short and that you
Hmm.
could get through. We didn't have no essays for that. We didn't have anything for
All we
that.
did was answer like questions for each
Hmm.
chapter. And then like the last day or the last week he like could assign work, he grouped like 6 chapters in one
Yeah.
homework assignment, and there was like
Yeah.
20 questions, and he was like, do this for the rest of the book. And I was like, okay.
That was it. And I'm like we missed out on like doing essay. Well, we did kind of essays, but we missed out on basically doing a lot of essays, tests, like no tests were given this year.
We're
Um
gonna have to take tests next year, and I'm gonna have to relearn how to study things. I
I'm
am going to
going to
have to use
cry.
flashcards. I'm going to be studying in the mornings. Like, it's going to feel like I have transitioned from high school to college, and now I'm in this super hard, like, what is happening?
See, but that's what I'm hoping that because of how I think how much we've unlearned per se this year when it came to like not having really a schedule with doing work or like kind of turning in assignments whenever, not really having tests, like not having those like kind of like environments that we usually have. It's going to be kind of like a slow relearning process, and I'm
Mhm.
hoping it's going to be a slow relearning process in the beginning of next
Yeah.
year.
I don't want it to be like a really slow learning process, like taking 5 months to get back into. But like if that's what it takes,
Taking
then
at least a month
yeah.
or two.
But like the first month and a couple weeks of the school year, I feel like we shouldn't take tests, or maybe they could give us like, oh, this is how I administer my tests. Here's what you should be prepared for.
We should do like a
But
practice
yeah.
test, I feel like, just like getting back
Yeah.
into that mindset of
Like
like
maybe
this is
we could
school.
maybe we could do like a simple one that's like a vocab thing or something. Like I don't know. Or like a this doesn't count, but do your best. Like the STAR assessment?
Yeah.
Like they give you points if you do it for like completion. Like maybe they could give us completion points, but not like grading it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not ready for tests.
I'm not ready for any I'm not ready for anything. I remember like I was looking back at like all my notebooks, which this is the one thing that I hope we can take on to next year is that since we were virtual, everything that we did was online. So like
Hmm.
docs,
Yeah.
math, all of that was online. So I hope that we can kind of transfer that into next year with kind of doing
Yeah.
essays online, not really writing it, like notes
I
online. I don't know if we
I
could do that,
yeah.
but
I liked everything that we did online. I feel like for me personally, I enjoy writing down notes during class because it just helps me like comprehend the information better. So I wouldn't mind taking notes in class, but like assigning work online instead of
online.
like printing a worksheet for us, like putting it on a doc that we can edit personally is so much easier than having to do a worksheet. But maybe they won't because we've been on a computer for the past year. So they're
No,
like,
I feel
let's do all of our assignments on paper. But
no, I feel like that's true because there's the good and positives. There's the people who say that they lost their worksheet last year who actually didn't lose their worksheet, and then the people who actually lost their worksheets last year who actually did lose their worksheets. And I feel like that's going to be the issue next year. Like it's either you do it or you don't, and then people can't say, oh, I lost this and I'm
Mhm.
sorry, I need a new one, or I didn't have the thing. But it's also beneficial because then you're not losing anything anymore. Like, I felt like I
I
was so bombarded with all these papers for every
yeah.
class.
I know certain people, like, on TikTok sometimes I've seen people be like, "Oh, something you can do if you don't wanna do your work is, like, turn your doc in, but it's blank, and then, like, be like, 'Oh, my software crashed.'" And I'm just like, "That makes no sense. How does that even work?"
I don't
Like, they can see your editing history.
think wait. They could, because then they could see, oh, they edited this today and turned it in today. And there was
Yeah.
nothing.
And they can see, like, all the versions of the documents, like, so unless it said something like, "Error, this document could not be loaded."
So
Like,
people are gonna have to be really honest next year.
mhm.
Like, just super, like, yeah, I didn't do it. I'm sorry.
Sorry, man. I was in a global pandemic for like 18 months. I don't really have the energy to do my homework tonight.
I'm just like, I just hope that, I don't know. I hope some of the things that we kind of got from this year just translate into next year in a little, in some capacity. Like, one of the things that I feel like we really worked on this year, which I said like earlier, because of like all the racial tension and because of all everything that was going on around us, like on a
Mhm.
global scale to some extent, and also like in just in our own community, like Philly community. We learned a lot about like each other because our school had a lot of town halls, had a lot of like equity meetings, had a lot of meetings like talking about like different communities. So I
Mhm.
hope that we like, I know that we're going to do it next year, but I hope that we keep that same like, okay, I have to understand different people
Mhm.
mindset. I don't know if that makes sense.
I also hope like the curriculum is less like I don't know how to put this, but like especially for history, it's less focused on like the white experience and like instead the experience of people of color
Right.
because everything is like white centered and we always read
Whitewash,
books by
like per
white
se.
men and
Yeah.
stuff and I'm just like we can do better. So,
That was like kind of like the beginning of what we were trying to do, like this whole sophomore year. I feel like for us, like we had the town halls, we had a bunch of town halls, a bunch of meetings. Every time something happened on the news, we talked about it in class, which sometimes those
mhm.
talks were like so repetitive, but like it was
But
like
we
every
would spend
class
like the whole period.
talking about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like something like if something happened, I feel like in a regular school environment, like if something happened, it would only be a discussion between the students. It wouldn't be a discussion that the teacher was also involved.
I can think of like two teachers that I had freshman year that would totally like talk about things like that with us, but I can't think like
A
we wouldn't do that in
majority.
gym.
Yeah.
Like the teacher might acknowledge it, but I'm just like we wouldn't talk about it the entire period. So I'm just like in English we would totally have talked about everything,
Right.
which I'm like that was great. But I just hope that the teachers that I have this year like to talk about things that are important instead of being like school. What? Social issues? No. School.
And I think that's what I loved about, that was one of the biggest things I loved about this year though. Like I did so much this year when it came to like involving myself in so many like movements or like social movements or just getting more involved within my own like Latinx community, and then
Mhm.
also trying to understand other communities. And that has like broadened my field. Ooh, I hit my mic. I'm sorry. That has broadened my field when it came to, I guess, knowledge, and understanding of like certain things that go on, just more so around me, but also within my own like identity, I guess you
Mhm.
can say. And that was one of the main things that I love this year. Like this year was like really a, since we didn't have like school in person, and since technically we did have more time to ourselves now
Mhm.
being at home all the time and being online and like taking class online, like it was really a trying to not only better myself but have like a self discovery per
Mhm.
se, and I feel like that this was the year to do that, and that's what I feel
Yeah.
like I did to the most for the most part at least.
I was going to say for a lot of the kids at Kappa, especially us being like teens who have access to like the internet and stuff, like there wasn't really that big of an excuse to not like educate yourself about certain issues and like be involved and sign petitions and like learn things. So I feel like it was like a really good step for our generation at least to like integrate educating ourselves into like our daily things. Cause like I go on TikTok all the time and I'm just like, oh, here are a bunch of Black creators, like defining certain things and like explaining their experiences. And I'm like, this is great. Like, yeah. So,
No, like that's the thing. Like in Kappa, it was very, I guess, diverse. We're diverse, right? I would say
hmm
we're diverse. We have a lot of communities within Kappa. Some communities are smaller than others, but we do have like a lot of different people
hmm
within our Kappa walls, like both when it comes to different communities, but also like sexuality, gender, like a lot of those things. And talking about that most of the time, or just like getting more involved, or like I guess other people having this type of like, this year was more about like calling out certain people, or like
yes.
see, like if you see it, call it out type of thing. So I guess like
hmm
having that type of mindset, especially in a school that's so diverse, really just helped with everything. Like I don't know,
hmm
I feel like it really just helped with like understanding, mostly
And
understanding.
also, I feel like a lot of, I don't know if the word would be like incidents, like were prevented because we weren't interacting in person with the
Yeah,
students.
yeah,
So there weren't as many problems within the students. I know there was some problems like with the freshmen who weren't like integrated into our school yet.
yeah,
I wouldn't say community because sometimes like the Kappa community is really divided,
yeah.
but
With certain things.
mhm.
This year we were more divided in the part of like I feel like our individual classes, like a lot of problems that happened, I feel like before we did this whole transition or anything like that were within all majors. Like you heard an issue within all the majors or something like that.
Yeah.
But this year especially, since we were more divided within classes and we had a lot of our like own interactions within our class online mostly, rather than interacting with everyone in the building, or like having different friend groups with different grades and everything like that. Like a lot of the issues that we heard about were within like different classes, and a lot of the issues that happened this year were with freshmen, and that was like the main talk
Mhm.
of like
I
everyone.
I I feel like the first half of the year, like September to December, it was all about what was happening with the freshmen.
Yeah,
And then after that, it just kind of became like the teachers were definitely more outspoken about certain issues they had with specific students.
yeah,
If they had said certain things, like they wouldn't tell us the names of the students, obviously, because privacy and stuff, but like issues that happened with students. And then there was a lot of talk, like between certain majors about, like, oh, well, this major's better because, we are cooler and we dress better or whatever. And I'm like, okay, shut up. Like, nobody cares. We're literally a school. You're like 17. Calm down. But,
no, and along with the teachers though, like I feel like they took more steps towards trying to understand us versus
yes. At
like
least the teachers
before.
I had.
And for no, for me too. Like a lot of, I feel like all the teachers collectively. Maybe there was some here and there that didn't as connect with the students, but I feel like a lot of the teachers collectively,
hmm
really took this opportunity trying to understand students like mental health, because that was like the forefront
hmm
of everything. Because I don't know, like online is so draining. This year was so draining at times, and a lot of times a lot of issues at home could conflict with your issues at school, and then it was like a whole like mental thing. Like I had a lot of moments where I had to physically take a break from school that day, or I asked my teachers, hey, can I have a mental day off?
hmm
And this year especially was I think the first time I ever seen teachers really try to understand students.
Mhm.
Like,
I agree with that.
yeah, like ever.
Which, yeah, like I appreciated all of that help with like mental health stuff. But on the days, it was so weird because on the days where I was like doing great and I was like, okay, I'm ready to learn, then like everybody else was like, oh, can we not do that today? Like, we need a break. And I'm just like, why am I the only one that's like, wait, I'm doing fine today. And then it's like the next day, the teacher's like, okay, let's learn. And I'm like, depression. Like, it
It
was
was
so
like it
weird.
was flip floppy. It was definitely flip flop. I mean, a lot of people had different experiences. Like a lot of people loved online school. A lot of people didn't love online school. Like
Hmm.
for me, I had my mental days, but most of the time I was ready to learn. And
Yeah.
then when people who did have like mental days, sorry, with people who did have like mental days, it was like, okay, we're gonna take a break from school. Like
Hmm.
most of our learning this year was more so catered to us. Like it wasn't there. Like we didn't learn. I'm gonna be honest, we didn't learn a lot, especially in
Oh no.
biology. In biology class, we did not
Okay.
learn a lot.
I was really excited for biology because I took biology in 7th grade, but everything that we learned or whatever was things that I learned in 7th grade, like the cells and like DNA and RNA. And I
Yeah,
was like, I love this teacher. He's awesome. But also at the same time, I feel like we're taking too many days asynchronously and not talking about anything or whatever.
I lost so much interest, and this is no offense to the teacher. I don't know if they're gonna listen to this at all. If they were, this is no offense to the teacher who teaches biology. I loved the days that we were actually talking about things, like we actually started learning the curriculum and everything like that. But then there
Mhm.
was, like you said, there were so many days, and this happened with a lot of classes. Like there were so many days that we took off just to talk, and I feel like some students, I feel like, did take advantage of that to some
Yes.
capacity. Um,
There were some times where I feel like it was taken advantage of so much where it was like I don't want to say abuse of power because that feels a little drastic,
it's
but
not
it was
abuse of
kind of like
power.
that. It
Yeah.
was like that type of scenario where like the students were like, "Oh, they think we don't want to learn today because we're like in this weird mental state," which
So let's
sometimes that
just
was the
not learn.
case,
Yeah.
but it was like really distracting and taking away from all the things that we were supposed to be learning. So I was
Yeah,
like,
and like I was saying, like sometimes it got to the point where I just became uninterested in the subject. Like I was not
mhm.
interested in biology anymore because of how many times we just like took days off.
There was some point where I just started turning my camera off and then I never had it on the rest of the school year. And I was like, I'm so sorry, but
It's
I don't why do you want me to pay attention if we're not we're talking about these people's personal issues, which is great, but we not a therapy session. So,
yeah. No. It was very like learning. Like I said, like the teachers did, I commend them this year for having the initiative and trying to understand the students the best. And this year, like I said, was probably the most fantastic year when it came to teachers actually, I feel like, caring about the students, because I
mhm.
there's not that's not that doesn't happen all the time. But it also was like a balance issue. Like we had we were trying to balance. First, in the beginning of the year, was like asynchronous time, and then not like synchronous time, and then it became an issue of, okay, are we learning this day, are we not learning this day?
Yeah.
And then it was still like that was this whole year, like learning how to, I guess, combat talking about issues that are going on. Also combat like a lot of students like mental health while also trying to teach a curriculum. And that
Mhm.
was mostly like the big, I guess, the big
Yeah.
struggle.
I'm just really excited to see like how that changes when we go back to school, like if there will be the same amount of emphasis on mental health and making sure the students are like doing things to their best ability like in their mental state or if they'll just be like, you had a whole year. So,
I
we'll
hope
give you a
not.
little less. Let's learn some."
I feel like our school. And I can't speak for other schools. I feel like our school will have more of an emphasis on mental health. I'm not too sure, but I
I
feel like
hope
some
so, because
teachers at least.
otherwise, last year would feel extremely performative.
Last year would feel like a show that we were all part of and starred in. So
Mm-hmm.
like I'm hoping. I'm also like I got myself into like this a big part of many things this year that I don't know how I'm going to really navigate next year. Like this year for me, since we were doing everything at home, I did like work and school, so because I was
Mm-hmm.
able to. So with work I had so many opportunities. In school I had so many opportunities. I like created a club within my school called like Let's Talk Latinx. It's like a Latinx club, right? And then on top of that I like joined student council. I joined DEI. I joined a couple of
You got
things.
a lot of things going on.
Exactly, and I joined a couple of things outside of school too. So it's like I am kind of nervous, which is why I got a planner to like kind of like plan out my whole schedule because we need that
Mm-hmm.
now. Definitely need that now. I'm kind of nervous on like, oh, I took all this free time to get into so many activities, but yet we were online, so it was easy to do everything online. You had a
Mm-hmm.
meeting online, so it was like you didn't have to meet in person. So like I'm
Yeah.
kind of nervous to kind of start that in person. I don't know.
I love how your thing is like, oh, I did too many things, like, and there's so much going on, and I'm over here just like my entire friend group changed. Like the friends that I had when I was in school, I'm not friends with anymore. So now I'm like, how do I approach this when I go back to school? Like, do I ignore them? I don't know what to do.
See, and that's also different with me because like my friend group that I started with in school got stronger during quarantine. Like there
Mhm.
were some issues here and there, of course. Like every friend group has issues. The only friend group that really changed during this whole time was my like kindergarten to eighth, like my middle school
Yeah,
friend group.
like your out of school
My
one.
out of school friend group, but my high school friend group. I'm saying friend group so much, but my high school friend group, like we got stronger over the course of quarantine because we had like Discord to
Mhm.
talk on during school or anything like that. I got closer with you. I got closer with people I didn't think I would get closer with. Um, well, I thought I was going to get closer to you, but I got close to a lot of people that I didn't think I was going to get close with. During like this whole period of just being at home and then being on the phone
Mhm.
all the time or like on
Yeah.
online.
See, my thing is the friends, like my high school friend group was also my middle school friend group. So I was already, with them for a few years. And high school rolled around and I was like, "Ooh, no.
A change.
I will not be a doormat anymore." And then I was just like, hey. Now I have new friends and they are awesome.
I wonder who your new friends are.
I'm
No.
not going to say any names.
Wow.
Kaitlyn. Who said that?
Oh my god, it's okay, okay. On top of that, it's going to be so weird hanging like in person. Not in person. Like we hang in person
No, it is
before.
going to be weird hanging out in person. Like, how am I supposed to do anything?
Like
Like, I've hung out with you
we've
twice.
no more, yeah.
Twice.
But
And we've
like we
been friends
always
for like a year and a
bond.
half.
Yeah.
You, wait, a year and a half? That's so scary. Wait.
It's so crazy how okay, first of all, I feel like I've been friends with you for like ever. So like that's weird. It's crazy how close we've gotten over like this whole year, I guess you could say.
Like, I don't even remember texting you over the summer.
We
Like,
didn't. We did pen pals.
oh,
We wrote to each other
we
over the summer. We acted like texting did not exist over the summer. Are you taking out the pen pals?
wait, don't look at my address. We only wrote 5 letters back and forth.
Was it
How
only
did we become
five?
best friends after that?
Don't complain, Annabelle. Dang,
No,
you're
I'm
sounding
not
like a
complaining. I just don't
complaint.
understand how that happened. How did that
We
happen?
first of all, it happened because, and we said this in our like, I think we said this in our first episode, but basically, like when quarantine started, I was like, I want to do pen pals. Annabelle was like, yes, please, let's do
Imagine if
pen
I'd said
pals.
no, or if
If
I'd
you
said
said no,
nothing.
then this podcast wouldn't exist and we would never be friends. Like,
I'm the reason this podcast happened.
yeah,
Me.
Annabelle is the reason. She could have said no because I put a poll on my thing and I was like yes or no,
I'm
and I
just
just
so
responded.
friendly, and I have no ability to say no. So I was like, yes,
Like yes, let's
absolutely.
start. And then I think we pen palled for like here and there, and the only
I kept
we
forgetting.
texted no we texted because like oh yeah we also forgot. Well, you forgot, and then I forgot, and then it was like a forgetful thing. But like as we were pen
Us with
paling,
recording the podcast.
that's another thing. But
We
but
don't
when
talk about it. We don't
we
talk about it.
when we were writing to each other, we also texted each other when we got the letters, and then
And then
we
we
started
FaceTime sometimes.
we
Like I called you the
FaceTime.
most over quarantine over everybody else that I'm friends with. And when I say everybody else, I mean like 3 of my friends. Those are my friends. I have like 3 friends. So
I think did we wait we FaceTimed?
we called a lot in like October. Like, remember we
That's
hung
not
out in
summer.
August? Well, okay, whatever. Remember we hung out in August
Yeah,
and then we called a lot like
we called a
September
lot.
and October?
It was like the after hanging out. We were just like let's talk to each other all the time.
Yeah. And then we hung out in like November or something. And then we talked a lot again.
Yeah,
And then
that's
I
basically
I
what happened.
gave you stuff for your birthday and we talked a lot again. And then I don't know what's happening now.
Kind of like I guess wrapping up the episode though, like what do you feel like was your like biggest achievement, I guess you could say, this year?
I have a lot of big achievements. Number 1, self-growth. You know, last year, if you remember, I had awful bangs. They were greasy. They were not straightened properly. Could not keep up with my hair or facial appearance. This is physical self-growth. Sorry. My hair was so long, and my personality was just based off of what other people wanted me to be. Not a fun time. I tell you, not a fun time. And then it like evolved a bunch. And I was like, who am I? You know, had a bunch of
The
existential
evolution
crises.
stages.
Oh my gosh. I can categorize the evolution over quarantine based off of what shows I was watching at that time. Like I had a Boy Meets World phase. What else did I watch? I had the politician phase. I had a finishing the good place phase. There was a lot going on. Okay. You can also tell a lot by the music I listened to in that time. I was still stuck in the summer of 2020. I was still stuck in listening to my freshman playlists. And then I discovered what indie music was. And I went wild. Okay. So much went on. Anyways, besides the point, now I'm just like, wow, I'm so cool. I'm so smart.
The
The
confidence
end.
went up.
Also, I can do eyeliner now. And that is a really big achievement for me because I feel so cool now. And also, I look great without my glasses because
Exactly.
people used in middle school used to say I looked like a meerkat without my glasses, which was rude, but they're kind of not wrong because sometimes I do look like that. Like my eyes, because they're so small. Anyways,
I don't mean to laugh, but like
no, it's funny. I think it's funny. Anyways, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, glitter, a little bit of eyeliner, bye bye glasses, hello eyes. Anyways, that's all. I'm trying to think of other achievements. I don't
well
know.
for me it was also
I
like
can play
self growth.
guitar.
Oh,
Anyways, I'm done. Kaitlyn's turn.
I was gonna say it's also self growth for me. I kind of adopted
Oh my gosh, the
Anna
bangs!
Annabelle's look. I got bangs, which I feel like they really fit kind of like my personality.
They really do.
They right. I never considered getting bangs because I always thought I would look dumb. I had bangs when I was like younger, like 8, 7, like
Mm-hmm.
back then, right? So
Way back when.
I never thought bangs would like kind of fit my face, but they really do fit like who I guess like who I am in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I
Your
never
essence,
my
your
essence,
aura.
my yes, and now I'm just if you know Kaitlyn, you know bangs. Like that is literally
Mm-hmm. The
what you
bangs.
know, the
The
bangs.
bangs. I see the bangs, the glasses, and then that one yellow floral print jumpsuit that you have.
That is the
I don't know if you got rid
three.
of it,
No,
but
I have
yep.
it. During quarantine, my body went through many changes, and I do not fit it at this point in time.
Puberty.
A
I
lot
felt
of things
that. I felt
happened.
that. The style evolution that happened
The
was
style
universal.
evolution. Yes, there was a lot of evolutions that happened. Like I said, like I had a lot of self growth, had a lot of like physical changes with just my appearance, with how I wanted to look.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of like figuring out what I want to wear or like what fits me per se. I
Mm-hmm.
also got contacts. I'm not wearing them right now, but
Same.
got contacts. So trying to
We're
figure
so
out
cool.
we are really cool. People also said I look
Like,
weird without glasses too. I feel like everyone says that to people with glasses though.
that's so mean.
I don't
Why
know
would you? Why
why.
would people say like other people look weird like that?
I like
Why?
I think this year was really like I said earlier was more of an acceptance of myself and trying to
Mm-hmm.
find who I am. And that was my biggest achievement cuz I 90% achieved that. I'm not
Yeah,
100% there.
we're
And
we're never gonna be 100%
no
there.
one's yeah, never no one's ever going to be 100% cuz you're always going to have issues, you're always going to have roadblocks, you're gonna go through phases when you don't like yourself. Like I had many points in periods in time and I
Mm-hmm.
still have them. I had it like last week where I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, yeah, no, that's gross. And then I have like other points where I'm like, oh, I really like myself. So I don't know. It was I'm not I feel like I got to a point where I'm telling myself
Yeah.
most of the time that I am beautiful within my own skin and I know who I am to an extent where I'm just not completely lost.
Mm-hmm. I also feel like that was so poetic. Oh my gosh! Wow. Can I use those as song lyrics?
I mean,
I
if
don't
you
know,
want
man.
to.
Anyways, whatever. I was also gonna say, like, I feel like you and I both got better at like setting boundaries with people
Yes, not saying
and
yes
like
to everything.
learning how to say no. That was my next little thing. And now I'm just like, if anybody tries to be mean to me or walk all over me, I can just be like, go away.
Annabelle's kind of putting up a certain finger at the moment, but
What? No, I would never. Yes, I
what?
would. I just did. People who are mean to me, I'm sorry. Well, no, I'm not. Don't be mean to me.
I think this year's was the first time I ever blocked someone. Like
Oh my god, same!
I never blocked anyone before. This
I
year
was
was
so
literally the first
afraid.
time.
I
I
was like,
always was
oh,
scared.
I don't want them to think that I hate them.
No, I
But
never
now I'm
blocked
just like,
anyone.
I don't
Like
care.
I never blocked anyone because I was like as well like scared, but I always was like, "Oh, we can rebuild. We
We
can do
can work
something.
this
We can
friendship
work this out."
out.
No.
We can work. Wait, can I sing that? I don't know if we get copyrighted. I'm not gonna
For
sing it.
what?
For
For what?
work this out or work it out from High School
Let's
Musical
not.
2.
You know what? Let's not try.
Okay.
Let's not
Just
try.
imagine I started singing Work It Out from High School Musical 2. I don't remember what the song is called, but yeah, just pretend.
Pretend, pretend Annabelle sang it. But yeah, like this year's just like, and I feel like that's gonna be weird for some people, like hearing it's like, oh, you just block someone like for the first, like it's exciting. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've
It's
never blocked anyone.
exhilarating. I am
For
like
someone
you saying you blocked someone gave me such a rush. I was like, I love
for
this
us,
feeling.
literally for us being like so much like people pleasers and everything like that, and trying to finally breaking out of that to some extent, because I feel like we still have our moments, but like blocking someone is like the biggest thing.
Dude, when we get to school, we're just gonna start walking like into the school, and it's gonna be one of those like, you know, like in Mean Girls when they do that slow motion walk
Yeah.
and they're like, we're the queens of this school. We're just gonna be like, we own you. But
We
not really. We're just
own
gonna be like,
this
we're so
land.
cool. What about it? What about it? What do you need from us?
No,
Mm.
this year was definitely, like you said, just more so a like setting boundaries, figuring out ourselves, grow like self-love, self-growth, kind of figuring out who we are, what we want to do type of thing.
Mhm.
And I feel like that was like the best part of this year. Out of all, and we didn't talk about negatives that much because I feel like we don't need to talk about that, but like out of
We
all
already
the
talked about that
negatives,
before.
we've talked about that before, but out of all the negatives, that was like the most positive thing that could have come out from staying at home, being online, being drained. That was the most positive thing that came out of
Mhm.
everything that happened.
And it was like, honestly, it felt like consistently positive because for every time there was like a month or whatever that was like a bad month,
Yeah.
there was like another month that was like a
Really
couple
good.
months later that was like, here is some good things. And I was just like, wow. And also like, wait, actually, I'll stop talking. We're
No, go
closing
ahead.
up.
What were we gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say like for this year also, like being alone just with my family for my birthday was so not. I was just like, wow, this is a great birthday. And also it was like sweet 16 or whatever, but because I would not throw a party. I hate parties. But I was just like, this is so nice.
It,
Kind of best birthday ever.
the lonely the I guess the isolation kind of became more so of like a home in a sense. Like you had to try to figure out to make it your own.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's what we did.
So poetic. What a
I'm not I don't
genius.
try
Is that a creative
anyway.
writer I see? Yes.
We're
Confirmed.
oh
Creative writing
anytime
minor.
anytime we do something, we're always a minor. So like
Yeah.
anytime we do something else besides our major, theater major, MDTV major. I mean
Kind of
minor.
iconic at this point.
It is very iconic. But closing out, we're like I said in the beginning of this episode, we're back. So this is kind
What's up,
of
guys?
like
We're back.
we're back.
That was my
So
best impression of the Dolan twins. I did one of those in the beginning. I don't know if you caught it.
I didn't.
Oh,
But
okay.
now anyway.
Sorry about that. Anyways, moving on.
We're gonna do every other Wednesday. Back at it with the original schedule. If anything does happen, we will always keep you updated on our Instagram, which I
Hmm.
think it's two peas in a pod. It's two peas in a pod.
I have no clue.
I have
Caitlin
no
knows.
clue what
Oh.
the Instagram logo is. I not logo username is. I
Username.
will if you heard music because it was something else. I'm going to look at it at this moment. Two peas in a pod.cast. So if you follow our Instagram or anything like that, two peas in a pod.cast, and it's the number two, not the word two. We will keep you updated on anything and anything and everything that is going on this week for future episodes and future topics. We honestly don't know what we're going to talk about in the future.
We have a little list,
We have a
but
little
we
list
are kind of,
jumping
know,
around the list.
yeah, regenerating from our
It's
dead
more
selves from the school year. That was
yeah.
kind of morbid. Sorry. But it's kind of true. We kind of died.
It is true. We just like this whole episode. We were just talking about how we just got out of our sophomore year. It's going to be more so of a like trying.
It's like an
to
adjustment period.
Yeah, summer is going to be the adjustment period.
But I'm like
we're
comprehending the
looking
fact that we're going to be juniors. Insane.
But we're looking forward to like all like I guess continuing this podcast in general and actually getting our schedule together in a sense. And like if there's anything that you really want to hear from us or interested about with us, we like just tell us, we'll totally talk about it. I know in the future we're going to talk about we had a topic about identity because like I said earlier, like I was a big this year was a big like identity type of finding myself type of thing. And we have other topics that we want to talk about, but just keep updated on anything and everything that we update on, which is mostly Instagram. And I guess I will give Anabel the stage.
Okay, I was like, are you gonna finish that sentence? I don't know what's happening. Anyways, thank you for listening this week. I don't know how long this episode is, but I assume it's like 30, 40 minutes because we started recording at like 8:30 and now it's 9:36. So could be an hour. Sorry about that if you don't like listening to hour-long podcasts, but not really. Sorry, because this is our podcast and we can do whatever we want. So
Pretty much.
anyways, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you stay tuned for next week, or not next week. Actually, I tricked you. The week after next week, when we will be releasing another episode. Don't know what the topic is. We will keep you updated on our Instagram about it. Maybe. We'll see. It might be a surprise. It usually is. Yeah. Thank you for listening, wherever you are in the world. Because there's people in this that listen to our podcast that are from other parts of the world. That's kind of weird. That I'm like, what is happening? This is wow.
But
anyways,
yes,
thank you for listening. We love you. Bye.
bye.
Let's give you a kiss. Bye. Okay, bye.